Welcome back students to another video lesson from the chapter Gravitation. Today the topic of discussion is going to be satellites. We all know that a heavenly body revolving around a planet in a stable orbit is called a natural satellite. In the solar system, all the planets, namely Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, revolve around the Sun, and each may be called a satellite of the Sun. Some of these planets too have got satellites revolving around them. For example, Earth has one satellite, that is the Moon. Mars has two satellites, Phobos and Deimos, and Jupiter has as high as 63 satellites revolving around it. These heavenly bodies going around a planet are the natural satellites because they were created by the nature. So Moon, which is the natural satellite of Earth, goes around the Earth in about 27.3 days in an almost circular orbit of radius 3.84 into 10 to the power 5 kilometer. A satellite put to in its orbit around a planet by the man is called an artificial satellite. Since 1957, many artificial satellites of the Earth have been launched in their orbits. On October 4, 1957, man entered the space age when Russian scientists put Sputnik 1 into an orbit around the Earth. Its period of revolution was 96.2 minutes, and it continued revolving around the Earth for 58 days. Since then, many artificial satellites have been created. Our country, India, also joined the Space Club on April 19, 1975 by putting in orbit Aryabhat, a 350 kg satellite with Russian rockets and from Russian soil. On June 7, 1979, Bhaskar 1 was put into orbit around the Earth by India as its second satellite. Since then, India too has made several artificial satellites. In fact, India launched the first multi-purpose satellite INSAT-1A, which is the Indian national satellite, on September 4, 1982. India has been continuing its space program with the launching of INSAT-1C, INSAT-1D and so on. Let's understand what is the principle of launching a satellite. For this, just take the example of the figure that is coming right now on your screen, in which you can see a several kilometers high tower on the surface of Earth. Now suppose a stone is thrown from the top of the tower with a horizontal velocity. It may hit the surface of the Earth at point A1 after moving along a parabolic path. Now, if the stone is thrown with a greater horizontal velocity, the stone will meet the Earth at a different point. A2. So, this position A2 is a little away from the foot of the tower. If the velocity of the projection is continuously increased, it will hit the surface of the Earth always at a point a little further away. Till a certain horizontal velocity of the projection of the stone, it will be in a state of free fall under gravity. That is, it will be attempting to fall to the Earth but missing it all the times. So in practice, An artificial satellite is launched into space with the help of at least a two-stage rocket. The satellite is placed at the tip of the rocket. The first stage of the rocket takes the satellite vertically up against the gravity to the desired height of its orbit above the surface of the Earth. Then, the first stage of the rocket detaches and the second stage tilts it through 90 degrees. The second stage is used to impart required horizontal velocity to the rocket to make the satellite revolve in a circular orbit around the Earth. This horizontal velocity is called the critical orbital velocity and depends on the height of the orbit. In fact, the magnitude of the horizontal velocity imparted to the satellite determines the successful launching of the satellite. As you can see in the figure, in case the horizontal velocity imparted is less than the critical orbital velocity, the satellite will follow a parabolic path and fall to the surface of Earth, as you can see in point 1. For the second path, in case the horizontal velocity imparted is precisely equal to the critical orbital velocity, the satellite will move in the desired circular orbit around the Earth. For path shown by 3, in case the horizontal velocity imparted is greater than the critical orbital velocity but less than the escape velocity, the satellite will move in an elliptical orbit. What about 4? In case the horizontal velocity imparted is greater than the escape velocity, what will happen? You all know what happens when an object is given the escape velocity. The satellite will leave the gravitational field of the Earth and escape into the space. So these are the different paths followed by the satellite, which is so dependent upon the horizontal velocity imparted to it at the time of projection. Now let's study more about orbital velocity. First of all, we need to understand what is orbital velocity. So orbital velocity of a satellite is the velocity required to put the satellite into its orbit around the Earth. So just refer to the figure that is coming right now on your screen. Suppose that a satellite of mass m, has to be put into circular orbit around the Earth. At a height x above its surface. Consider that Earth is a sphere of mass capital M and radius r. Then the radius of the orbit of the satellite will be obviously r plus x. Suppose that v is the required orbital velocity for the satellite. Then the gravitational force of attraction between the satellite and the Earth will provide the necessary centripetal force to the satellite to move around the Earth in the circular orbit. So you can write down using Newton's law of gravitation, gmm by r plus x whole square, which is the gravitational force of attraction acting on the satellite due to Earth, to be equal to the centripetal force, which is mv square by r plus x. So on solving this, we will get v to be equal to root over gm by r plus x. So from this expression we find that the orbital velocity of a satellite is independent of the mass of the satellite but depends on the radius of the orbit and mass of the planet about which it revolves. Now we know that acceleration due to gravity is given by gm by r square. So from here we get gm to be equal to gr square. Substituting in the above expression, we will get an expression for orbital velocity as under root gr square divided by r plus x. This is another expression for orbital velocity of a satellite revolving in an orbit of radius r plus x. This expression is in terms of acceleration due to gravity. Now, it may be pointed out that the orbit of the satellite may not be circular in shape. However, the orbits are assumed to be circular ones only for the sake of simplicity. Now, one special case. When the satellite is orbiting very close to the surface of Earth, that is, in this case we can put x to be equal to 0. So from the above two equations, wherever there is x, we will put x equal to 0, both in equation 1 and equation 2. So from 1 we get v to be equal to gm by r, and from equation 2 we get v to be equal to root over gr. So now if we put g to be equal to 9.8 meter per second square and r to be equal to 6.4 into 10 to the power 6 meter, we get v to be equal to 7.92 kilometer per second. So this is the orbital velocity that needs to be given to a satellite that is revolving in an orbit just near the surface of Earth. Let's now study about the time period. Time period is the time taken by the satellite to go once around the Earth. So obviously we will get the expression for time period to be equal to circumference of the orbit divided by the orbital velocity. So we can write down t to be equal to 2 pi r plus x divided by v. Now we have already derived an expression for v. So this implies that t I'm just writing down V to be equal to root over gm by r plus x. So substituting that, we get 2 pi t equal to 2 pi r plus x divided by root over gm by r plus x. So on further solving this expression, we get t to be equal to 2 pi root over r plus x whole cube divided by gm. Again, since gm is equal to gr square, therefore t should be equal to 2 pi divided by r and root over r plus x whole cube divided by g. Now, if we assume that Earth is a sphere of mean density rho, if we assume that Earth is a sphere of mean density rho, then we can write down a mass of Earth to be equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube into rho. So let us substitute this value in the expression. Given by equation 3. So we will get t to be equal to 2 pi and root over r plus x whole cube divided by g into 4 by 3 pi r cube into rho. So that will give us t to be equal to root over 3 pi r plus x whole cube divided by g r cube into rho. Now, if the satellite is orbiting close to Earth, then x will be equal to 0. So now obviously you will get t to be equal to 2 pi from equation 3 actually. From equation 3 you will get t equal to 2 pi root over r cube by gm. And from equation 4 you will get t to be equal to 2 pi root over r by g. Just mark this equation as equation number 5 and put x equal to 0. So from equation 5 you will get t to be equal to root over 3 pi by g rho. So if now we put g to be equal to 9.8 meter per second square and r to be equal to 6.4 into 10 to the power 6 meter, then from 6 equation 6 will give t to be equal to 84.6 minutes. This means the time period of a satellite revolving around the Earth just close to its surface is about 84.6 minutes. Let's find out height of satellite. Now we know that t is equal to 2 pi by r root over r plus x whole cube by g. Squaring both sides. What shall we get? We will get t square equal to 4 pi square r plus x cube by r square g. Further, this will give us r plus x whole cube to be equal to t square r square g divided by 4 pi square. So obviously this means that r plus x is equal to t square r square g divided by 4 pi square raised to the power of 1 by 3, and further we get x to be equal to t square r square g divided by 4 pi square raised to the power 1 by 3 minus r. So knowing the time period of the satellite, radius of the earth, acceleration due to gravity, we can calculate the height x of the satellite above the surface of the earth. Coming to energy of an orbiting satellite. Now, when a satellite revolves around a planet in its orbit, it possesses both potential energy due to its position against gravitational pull of Earth and kinetic energy due to its orbital motion. Now, the potential energy of the satellite in the orbit at a height x above the surface of Earth will be given by u equal to minus gmm divided by r plus x. Now, since the satellite revolves in its orbit around the planet under the effect of gravitational pull, so we may write mv square by r plus x to be equal to gmm by r plus x whole square. Gravitational force is providing the necessary centripetal force. From here we get mv square to be equal to gmm by r plus x. Therefore, kinetic energy of the satellite, if we represent it with t, that will be half mv square, and that should be equal to gmm by 2 r plus x. Hence, total energy of the satellite E should be equal to potential energy plus kinetic energy. Now we have written the expression for potential energy, that is minus gmm by r plus x, and kinetic energy is gmm by twice r plus x. So total energy shall be equal to potential plus kinetic. On solving, we get total energy to be equal to minus gmm divided by twice r plus x. So it follows that the total energy of an orbiting satellite is negative. This means the planet and the orbiting satellite form a bound system. Binding energy of an orbiting satellite. It follows that in order to free the satellite from the Earth's gravitational field, an energy equal to negative of the total energy of the orbiting satellite has to be applied. So binding energy should be equal to minus of E, that is minus of minus gmm by twice r plus x, and that is equal to gmm by 2 times r plus x. This is the expression for binding energy of an orbiting satellite. So that shall be all for today's lesson. Thank you.